Good morning. In order for us to understand the little horn better, we need to look at its characteristics. In Daniel chapter 8, verses 10 and 11, we read this: "It grew until it reached the host of the heavens, and it threw some of the starry host down to the earth and trampled on them." Yesterday we discovered that the devil was at war with God in heaven, and that he managed to influence a third of the angels to choose his side. But they lost their place in heaven and they were cast down to the earth. It then also says in verse 11, "It set itself up to be as great as the prince of the hosts." Now it's important to understand here that when we refer to the prince of hosts, we are referring to somebody who's in charge of the angelic beings. I want to go with you now to Isaiah chapter 14. And in Isaiah chapter 14, we are going to find out a little bit more about the character of this little horn. It says there in verse 12, "How you have fallen from heaven, O morning star, son of the dawn." So here we see that the word morning star is actually Lucifer, and it's just the French for morning star. And we find out that this is a star which was an angel. It's fallen from heaven to the earth. This we discovered yesterday was the devil. But then it says in verse 13, "You said in your heart, I will ascend to heaven. I will raise my throne above the stars of God." So here we see that the intent of the little horn is to raise itself up into a position that it wasn't actually given. It wants to take the place, if we read correctly in Daniel chapter 8 verse 11, it wants to replace the prince of the hosts. So we see here that there is a battle between Michael, who was the prince of hosts, and Lucifer. It says further, "I will raise my throne above the stars of God. I will sit enthroned on the mount of assembly, on the utmost heights of the sacred mountain. I will ascend above the tops of the clouds. I will make myself like the Most High." So we see that this little horn has intentions. It doesn't just want to be what it was created to be. It doesn't just want to be a kingdom. It wants to be the King of Kings. It wants to make itself like the Most High. And when we look at this, we find that this is in actual fact the devil's attributes. He wasn't contented just to be a morning star, somebody who would declare God. He wanted to replace, first of all, the Prince of Hosts, which was Michael himself. Then he also, after not achieving that, wanted to raise himself up to be like the Most High. So we see that the objective of the little horn is to replace God, to actually be in place of God. I'm counseled and told that the word Antichrist doesn't mean that it is against Christ. The word Antichrist actually means I want to be in the place of Christ. So we see here that this little horn isn't satisfied with its position. It wants to be something which it is not. It covets the position that only God can hold. Only the positions that Michael can hold. It covets those positions. So we see that this little horn, the character quality of it, which is quite dangerous, is that it covets the positions of God. It wants to be not only like God, but as we've just read there, it says, "I will raise my throne above the stars of God." He wants to be almost equal to God. The question I want to ask you here, dear friends, is can creation ever be equal to its creator? What he is trying to do is something that is impossible. Creation can never be creator. Creation can never be God.